On this episode of Real Estate on the Rocks, we're talking to you, the struggling realtor.
Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Guess what time it is? It's time
It's about
for
10:35.
No, it's time for Real Estate on the Rocks today. I am your host, Dave Snowberger.
I turned the volume down.
You shut it off. You knew what I was going to do. Joining the studio today with my main man, Marshall.
Hello, everybody.
And the butcher himself, James Mendez. Oh, now you do it.
I didn't get any twinkle music. Here you go.
No
And Marshall.
for you. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So
All right.
no more sound effects. I think just everybody just probably tuned out. So, all right. So today we're talking a little bit about struggling realtors, right? So this is something we know about, struggling realtors. This is something we know about, and
Realtors don't struggle.
We get to speak to a lot of people that reach out to us for advice. Friends, other friends in our marketplace, friends from all around the U.S. That we've made through doing the podcast. And so I definitely want to reach out via podcast here, and let's hit some points. Some of these points I picked up from our friend Kevin Ward. And he's a very smart guy, and he works, he's got a nice little coaching program over there for himself. However, we took some of his points out of one of his videos and just expanded on a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started here and talk really, it's about 10 things that can help struggling agents start winning. Now you have to start doing these things. You can't just listen to them. All right. So you actually have to start putting some of this stuff into action every single day. All right. So here we go. Marshall, number one.
Get a dream. A big, exciting dream that's unbelievable, and immerse yourself in that dream. Basically, that's finding your big why.
Yeah. So we hear this in a couple different ways. Depends on really what brokerage you're with. People talk about get the dream. What's the big why? You know, why are you doing this? Why do you wake up every day and bang your head against the wall and do the same thing over and over again and still not seeing your results? Because you're doing the wrong things. You know, however, find that why. What is that? You know, I mean, it doesn't have to be, you know, I've been in some pretty large, I guess, mastermind groups, and especially back when I was with Keller Williams. But people would sit in some of these meetings and come up with this big, bloated why, right? And I could never do that. And I felt bad that I didn't have that my why was just to genuinely help people. That's it, right? Was to make a decent living, to make more money, you know, to have profit, to buy more rental homes, or to buy, you know, other nice things that I wanted, or sock money away, or whichever else. And you know, some of the people throw guilt trips at agents sometimes when we say, you know, we're in this for profit. You know, I'm not running a charity. I'm 100% in this for profit.
Yeah.
You know, and if I help enough people, there's profit there, right? And so we'll get to some of that other stuff here in a bit. Marshall's got his hand up like a student.
Me.
Yes, Marshall.
Well, I heard a story last week, and I hope I don't butcher it like James, but basically there's
That's the sound effect I need. Dang.
Imagine a big plank on the ground, and someone says they're going to offer you $1,000 if you can walk across that plank without falling. You'd probably do it. Now, if they put that plank on a 3-story building and said walk across it, and I give you $1,000, you'd probably say no, more than likely. But if you had your baby on the other end of that building and you had to get across that plank, you probably would do that, and that's your why.
Right. Okay. That's a good analogy to put.
I like that story because I always struggle too, wondering what is my why. Why am I?
I think the story goes a little bit more in depth. I was there.
I was chopping it up, condensing it for time.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, just find that big why. And some of these folks, you know, it is about their family. But where I really respected a gentleman that a lot of listeners would probably know if I mention his name, however I won't, stood up and said, hey, you know what? Like, my family is not my why. You know, and some people like gasped, like, what do you mean your family's not your big why? It's like, no, that's your why. That's not mine. My why is greater than my family, and my why helps me if I achieve if I achieve my why. If I you know, go out there every single day and I'm doing this because of my big why, I get to provide a great life for my family. Right. And so sometimes people get it misconstrued. And if I think if realtors, if your big why is your family, and you're still not doing the things you don't want to do when you don't want to do them, then your why's not big enough. Then you're missing something. It doesn't mean you don't love your family. Yeah. It doesn't mean you don't love your wife and your kids and your husband and your kid. It just doesn't mean that, it's just not your why. So maybe you need to change your why to maybe a dream, right? So maybe it's something that dream. I mean, what's the
something more tangible? Yeah.
What's the thing is like dreams are just goals or goals are just dreams with deadlines, right?
Yep.
And so, put a deadline on that dream. If you want a massive trip to Hawaii, I know Nicole this year wants to go, or in 2020 wants to go to Maui, So I've looked into the flights and that's cool. Everything's fine. But then when it comes to a place to stay, it's like, oh, snap. I better start selling some homes, So that her why,
you're not gonna stay on the beach.
Her dream becomes my why, right? Yeah. And so I start doing that stuff. I mean, I don't have a big, bloated, juicy why that's going to make me cry. I mean, I've seen people break down, and I've seen us go through the assessment, personality assessments, and things like that. And people just kind of lose it over their why, and I respect that. That's fine. That's their why. But then when I don't have the same why or share the same, there's nothing wrong with that. That I don't have this big, juicy, bloated why. I mean, Marshall, do you have a big why, or is yours more of like tied to like the dream stuff? Because I know you're very passionate about your family. You love your family. You're a hell of a father. I see the things you do, with your kids and always around your kids, and you really don't let work interfere with your kids, and sometimes that interferes with.
Right. I think my bigger why right now is paying off our debt and getting a different house, bigger house, and just kind of putting all our financial goals into perspective. And then if you do that, all the stuff with your family kind of falls into place. I'll be able to provide those vacations, provide a bigger house, provide their cars, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think your why is always going to be, if you have a family, it's always going to be that.
Right.
That's just kind of a
tied
no-brainer.
to it in some way.
Yeah,
they say money is a tool, and I want that tool to be able to work for my advantage.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say more like, my big why is to get my kid braces, that's completely different, and so, I mean, or to
that little snaggle tooth.
It's good short term.
Start talking about snaggle tooth. What a dope. Move on. All right, so next thing right there is to get tough.
Oh.
All right, what do you mean by this, Marshall? How'd this make the list here?
Get tough. Stop thinking you can win by being a nice guy. You are in a fight. It makes people think you're weak, which makes them feel insecure hiring you.
Yeah, we have to say nice person now.
Nice human.
It's 2019.
Human.
You're a kind human.
I like you.
So
James is over there. I am. I have this problem. I'll admit it. I don't know, it's the Southern charm or what, but I say thank you, yes ma'am, yes sir a lot. I got on my way to try to please people, and I need to stop doing that so much.
I don't know if it's what you just said, the Southern, if I had to dissect it for you, the Southern charm, just like you said in the yes ma'am, yes sir, you can stay, that's a respect thing. Respect. That's ingrained in us and being Texans for one.
Yeah, because I went somewhere else one time. I said, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And they're like, but why are you speaking like a kid? I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah, only kids say that.
I address most of my clients by their first names, and unless they are maybe older, and they're senior citizens of sorts, or maybe, or, if he's ex-military, like Mr. Wilkes, he always insists, don't call me, Mr. Wilkes, call me Dave. And I'm like, no. It's like, I'll call you sir, all the time. And so it's just a respect thing, I think, and that's nothing really to be nice. I mean, the more nice thing is when you get run rampant, or run just to bone dry by clients. You work a lot with buyers, right? What's the connotation buyers bring to the table? Buyers are what?
What's some of the buyers are liars?
Right. And so, why do they get that? Why do they get that hung around their necks a lot?
Because they're looky-loos, or they don't have to actually purchase, or,
Right. And so they can run you through the whole process.
I'm going to lease again.
Yeah. Buyers don't have to buy.
I don't want to look at the homes.
Sell.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Buyers don't have to buy. Just think about that. They can always rent. They can take a cruise around the world, for 365 days, and they don't have to
keep renting.
Anything.
Or they call you up again. They're like, "Can we go see that house again? I didn't get a measurement."
Move in with a friend, move in with a family member, something like that. But you're working with a buyer, right? And so buyers these days, it used to be we had a lot of leverage as being realtors, it seems, because there wasn't the big grand, and this is, I'm only going off of other conversations I've heard from realtors with 20, 30 years of experience. And I don't know that world of the big MLS book. Right.
Yeah.
And so they always talk about how like Steve Folt talked about how the big MLS book got dropped off and they'd all fight over it for their, to see what listings were
Paper
coming out
cuts
there
on their
because,
fingers.
Yeah. I mean, they can't just go to their phones like you can today and see every listing available. You know, now with that, I mean, the search game has been, won by ZTR, Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor.com and a few other ones. So they don't need us much. So there's not a lot of leverage there in the search game. They only really need us at this point to open doors for them, right? And so it seems to be like you have to be a little bit tougher. Like people aren't getting, I see agents, I'll bring you up, Marshall. You don't do this anymore, but you used to do it all the time, was that you felt like you were imposing or infringing on them if you asked them to sign a buyer's representation agreement, right? And then they would go somewhere else. You'd get them to the 1 yard line.
That's a scarcity mindset. I didn't want them to run away or anything.
And they'd stop by an open house or they'd stop by a new build. We just found out one of our other clients just bought a new build again, and I know you were keeping up with him, and so that's completely on him. That's not you. Cause I know you were following up. I see it in the CRM, you following up with them, sending them emails and text, and he would answer you half-heartedly sometimes and kind of keep you out there. Then he goes and he buys a new build again. Right. The second time he's done this.
Second time.
Second time he's done this to us.
Well, that's four total houses though. 2 with us, 2 without.
Yeah. And so, but what were we talking about? Just getting a little bit more tough, and not being afraid to
people want to know that you can sell that house.
Right. People want to know that you have a tough exterior. They're hiring you for a reason to get a job done. Nice guys are considered losers.
Was it nice guys finish last? Is that what they say?
Yeah. But I'm sure when I just said that, nice guys are finishing, people are like, this dude's off his rocker. What's he talking about? It's true. That's why the stereotype is that nice guys always finish last, right? And so,
Well, it happens when you just constantly do that. You're just letting things slide. You're letting people take advantage of you. That's why the whole thing, it's not being nice makes you weak or
realtors
finish
coming
last.
into this business. I tell you sometimes that realtors frustrate me sometimes that I talk to them and it's that right there. Yeah. It's that letting clients walk all over them.
Yeah.
Dude. And then doing the job for cheaper than they should have. Or
in my first year, I would have power washed their porch. I could power wash that porch for you. We'll get it looking all good.
But see, I did that too. My first year was I would clean off stuff for them. I would take out. We get them. You
need help with that mow?
Yeah, we'll get the yard mowed. We'll trim the trees. We'll do what it takes to get it done. We were a full service team because we had to do anything it took. However, I didn't ever let them walk on us. And so we were, I always like to consider.
There's a difference between prepping a house and doing the things that you need to do to get it up to the level that it needs to be for sale.
If you're doing it for free, I didn't ever consider it for free. It was we were doing it for $9,000. Because it's a market where it's going to sell by itself. Yeah. All we got to do is really enter it into MLS and hit send and take great pictures. And send over our photographer to take good pictures. However, but it's just kind of like. I didn't let anybody ever walk on us and ask too much, I mean, tell me if I did and I don't realize it, but I would say, I mean, you were there with me on a lot of listing appointments. Yeah. So it's just kind of like, you need to stand your ground on a lot of stuff. You have to stay tough, but that first year, we bent over backwards for people. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this for the rest of my life if I have to do all this extra work.
It goes back to that first, what was it? We were in Georgetown selling a condo and we got tough. Real quick. Yeah. Dave walked out on her and left me in there with her and she was going a little nuts and I had to get tough real quick then. It's like, well, ma'am, it ain't gonna go that way. He's leaving and I'm your only hope now. So let's talk this out real quick.
Yeah, I just turned on my camera. I was afraid of what she was. I mean, this lady was just, she came unhinged at us for some reason. She just like,
we did such a great job with her.
My family
she became an agent.
My family says that you're taking advantage of me of like, we're selling you a condo. Like we're the buyer's agents. Like, how are we taking advantage of you? Like, what are you talking about?
That's crazy.
And so it was one of the craziest situations. It's probably the craziest situation I've ever been in real estate still. Yeah. Dang. And just, and then she became an agent. It makes no sense.
That's awesome.
You can't make this stuff up. All right. Thinking you can win when you're a nice guy. We just went through that one. Just remember, you're in a fight. This real estate business is a fight.
You can be
right?
a nice person and still get the job done and not let people take advantage of you. It's not, no one's saying go out there and be a douchebag and treat people like crap and
firm.
because you're a tough guy. No, you're an ass. You don't have to treat people like trash. Just you can be good to people and be firm with them, explain boundaries, get the job done, stay firm and set good expectations. You can do a lot of the things without being a jerk. You can still be a nice person and be effective. You know what I mean? Dave's like, no, I can't.
I refuse to be. No. But when I said about that whole you're in a fight thing, that's not you're in a fight with clients. You're in a fight you're in a fight for business with other realtors. That are going out there and have sat down and perfected their value. They know their whys, they know their dreams, and they're going after it every day. And they talk with certainty, right? Mm-hmm. You talk around, the scarcity mindset of please list with me, please buy a house with me. Yeah. I need this. Like, stop doing that. Grow a thicker skin and talk to them like they're human beings and act like you don't need it. Yeah. So go ahead, Marsh.
Get dressed up. Look the way you want to feel.
Okay, we brought this up in previous podcasts. Obviously, this strikes a nerve with me that when I see realtors out showing houses in shorts,
they look like pizza boys,
hats backwards. Well, I wasn't even going to bring you up.
I was at a condo showing some properties, and the guy was in there in just a t-shirt and some shorts and stuff, and I was like, are we in Hawaii? I'm like, I know it's Austin and everything. We can just chill, but dang, dude.
I seen that once during the summertime. He came in, he had a shirt, polo tucked into his shorts and flip flops, and they all seemed to be happy and getting along. And I was just kind of like, wow, I can be comfortable too. No, it doesn't. Pizza boy.
You can. It does work. It does work for some people. It's always the exception, not the rule. It could have been his day off. He could have explained to the person that I was wearing shorts that day. Hey, look, if you want me to show you this, I've done that.
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to be shorts and flip flops today. If you want to show this property, like I'm already in Georgetown right now. I have no time to go home and change. Yeah. If that's cool, I'll do that. And they usually say yes, but I forewarn them that I'm about to show up with pretty much dressed down. And it's the weekend, it's my time, right? And so. Being dressed up, I mean, if you don't have to dress up. I'm not telling you to, get a
however, dressing up will make you feel incredible.
Yeah.
It will change the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you think about things. So.
I know you were walking and talking different this week. You got a couple new sports coats, some shiny black new shoes.
Daddy went Christmas shopping.
You had a crease in your pants. Holy moly. Yeah. I was like, oh my God, who's this guy?
Broke out the iron, just spray starch.
I was like, you got to go to court? So next thing is get to work. So get to work. Get up, get to work.
Work as if your life depends on it, because it does.
Yeah. Absolutely does.
Miracle Morning. Miracle Morning is a good one. And actually, John Lee Dumas just mentioned this in his email about General McRaven's make your bed every morning speech. His speech about getting up and being setting priorities for your day.
Okay.
And that's those two things are good pieces to kind of read and internalize and set for your morning to start your be purposeful. That's what I was looking for. To start to have a purposeful morning when you start, and that just leads to a very strong day. Start strong, end strong.
Yeah. Look the way you want to feel. You want to feel like $1 million. You want to feel like you have confidence. You want to feel like you're on fire. You want to feel like everybody's going to list with you or sell with you or just buy with you. Yeah. Go in there looking like $1 million. First, there's like I said, Kevin Ward says, basically there's two. A lot of people say this, but there's two times you get impressions. The first time they see the way you're dressed, and then when you open your mouth.
Yep.
And so you've got two times there that you can do it, and one doesn't cover the other. You need to have both on point.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Stop wasting time dodging, drifting.
Squirrels.
Every time someone says dodging or drifting or something, I think of dodgeball.
Yeah, stop. You could dodge a wrench, you could dodge a ball. Dodging, drifting, and getting distracted on squirrel moments. That's really what that was. That's what that pause was about. I was trying to show you about the squirrel moments. Marshall covered it perfectly, but we are really good about this. Especially in these slower holiday seasons that we've been in, is we've been dodging work, dodging doing videos, drifting away from podcasts. We've been distracted by other shiny objects that are out there right now that are we've got every salesperson in the world trying to call us. So it must be slow across the globe right now with people that are trying to sell leads to us, people trying to sell insurance to us, people trying to sell everything to us. I mean, I've even got like proactive people reaching out to me for if I want to buy a car.
Nice.
You know, hey, look, it seems here on our records you bought a car from us 4 years ago, and you know the average. It's the same thing as like the average car buyer only keeps the car about 4 years before they trade it in. Are you ready to trade in? And I was like, well, if your records are right, you would know I just got a new car. So
They missed you.
Yeah, they missed me.
I love
followed up yesterday.
Right. I love the FSBO script for to get new agents. The one they call saying I have buyers in your area. Mm-hmm. I'm like, wait, that's a FSBO script, man. You need to calm down.
Yeah, I always tell them. Yeah, they're always doing that. I'm like, I'm a podcast host. Like that's all I am.
Just
like,
$500 a month, and you can get 2 deals, maybe.
Yep. Yeah, maybe.
Hard pass.
We can give you 1,100 impressions. Like, what the hell's an impression? What are you talking about? All right, so get selfish. Get selfish so you can be unselfish. What does that mean, Marshall?
It means you can't help other people's without first helping yourself.
People's?
People's.
Can't help other people's.
That's right.
All right, so
I like my people's.
Yeah. So dumb. Anyway, so you this whole sharing culture right now, I see a lot of people trying to reach out and help other folks, right? They're always willing to lend a helping hand. They're always willing to share. Mm-hmm. But if you can't help yourself, like I know some agents that can't really, they don't know where their next check's coming from, but they haven't abandoned anyone. They're still omnipresent in people's in the market out there, helping people, maybe teaching classes, doing a lot of things that I would deem at this point just kind of like, man, you need to shift gears. You know, I outside looking in, you know, it's like you need to shift gears and you need to be a little bit more selfish. And that selfishness will turn into allowing you to be unselfish, right? So you can't help other people if you can't help yourself, right? Got some validation there.
That's right. If
Like,
you don't
keep
take
going,
care,
dude, keep going.
Your body's your temple. So if you get sick and you're unable to get around the house, how can you help anyone at the house? How can you take care of your kids?
Right.
So you got to take care of yourself. It all makes sense.
So you need to be a little bit more selfish. Selfish with your time, selfish with your lead generation, selfish with your your proven abilities to get leads, selfish with your open houses. You need to just be selfish. And that is never sound advice unless you're in that position of right now where you're struggling. Because this is advice for struggling realtors. That's who we're talking to right now. If you're not struggling, great, help more people. Give away all your material. But right now, I would say you really, give them the why, but you don't give them the how right now. You be a little bit more selfish with the how to do so. You can give them the why, the reasons why they would do it, but not the how. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
I hope so. Because it makes sense to me, but you never know what's going on in my brain. So play to win versus playing not to lose. Too many people are focused on surviving and treading water. We've been in this position before where we work up to X amount of dollars in the bank account, and then we play defense on keeping it in the bank.
The scarcity mindset.
Yeah, we need to lower our bills. We need to shut off light switches around the office. We need to do more, do more proactively to save money in the bank, which is always a smart plan.
Yeah.
However, I think you should always be coming from that place of offense. What wins games? Offense or defense, right?
Offense.
Every once in a while, defense can win a game. Mm-hmm. The exception. The rule is offense wins the game, right? And so you have to be playing offense constantly. What does offense look like for realtors, right? That's dedicated lead gen from 9 to noon. 9 to noon. You sit down, you focus on what you're going to do. You call for sale by owners, expireds, withdrawals. You do all your follow-ups. You run some ads. If you're with eXp Realty, you can run or you're not even with eXp. You can get a landing page software and build landing pages. You can build squeeze pages to attract. You can do Craigslist ads. You can do so many things to attract into the business. But you need to be doing that for about, I always say 2 hours a week. 2 hours a day. So 10 hours a week, 40 hours a month.
Yep.
That's not too bad, right? But I would, if you're struggling, you need to double that. You need to do 3 or 4 hours a day of this stuff,
right?
Until you start, until it starts paying dividends. This is a numbers game. The more you have going out, the more you will get coming in. It's the only way through this struggle. It's the only way through it. So you need to play to win every single day you walk into your office. Nothing is going to happen for you. Nothing is going to fall in your lap. And if anything falls in your lap, it's probably came from a task you've been doing over time that finally paid off. And there's the other thing too, is stop doubling down on the stuff that you're bad at and start 10xing the stuff that you're good at. Mm-hmm. If you're killer at open houses, start doing more open houses. If you're killing it with some sort of lead generating or texting, we heard a kid the other day, right? He texts with drawings, and he's talking. He gave some bloated number that I just was sitting in the background. I was like, bullshit, but I'll take him at his word.
Sound high.
I'll take him at his word. He says he's getting 8 appointments a day.
And he said you get
or 8 return texts.
Listings a week.
8 listings a week.
Yeah.
From expireds.
Right. Just texting them.
I think that's team wide.
He only had one other guy on his team.
Oh,
he was a 2-man team.
Oh, that's right. Well, maybe.
But I took all his scripts, so I'll
cool.
We about to find out.
Applying them.
You willing to share those with other people?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm being selfish right now. I'm sorry.
I knew you were going to say that. All right. So, play to win. Play to win. Stop playing to lose. 10x the things you are good at. Stop worrying about the things that you suck at. If you suck at for sale by owners, if you suck at making phone calls, practice at it while you're doing something else, until you get better at that. But I'll tell you, if you suck at for sale by owners and you suck at withdrawals and expireds and you're horrible at those phone calls, you need to practice your scripts every day. 10x your scripts. Everything you need to do is 10x it. It just start paying attention to more. The more you do, the more you'll get back. I promise you. Promise you. If everybody sat here and actually 10x, any listener that we have actually 10x's their lead generation for 30 solid days in January starting, and it doesn't work for you, let me know, and we'll dial it in. I'll crank it in. I'll provide you a couple hours of free coaching, and we'll dial it in. We'll see what's wrong, what's actually wrong. But all you have to do, I'm telling you, is dial it in right now. 10x it. Come January 1st, start going after it. Set your clocks too, because there's going to be a lot of homes expiring on January 1st.
Ka-ching.
I remember last year, we were like the only ones in the office. Yeah. Us and a couple of people from the other team, or one of the other teams, and that was pretty much it. Dude,
people, a lot of realtors don't come back into the office until, close to February or so, which is fine. If they made a bunch of money and that's their game plan is, maybe they're working from home a lot, don't see a need to come into the office,
Cool.
But,
live that life.
We got to get in and get to it. I mean, we spent the whole Christmas break in the office, recording podcasts, putting out content, making videos, doing all the things we did. So we just rolled right into 2020. We've had a stellar year.
Yeah.
We've had a great year. We've had our best year yet. It's Snow Rigger Realty Group.
I think that's just because it's so fun. It's so engaging. And we're, we have a strong passion for what we're doing that we just want to keep coming in here because we have the expectation, and the reason for the expectation is, this past year is that as we continue to grow and grow and grow and do better and develop as we grow, it's just continuing to.
And you guys know me. I mean, to get real for a minute, like you guys know me. It's like if I say something, I want it done that day, right? And that causes a lot of rifts between the in the office.
I want it done like a couple days ago before you said it.
Yeah, and so I usually, I want to implement something, I want to build something, and I want to do it unrealistically fast, and that's how my brain works, right? And so, you ever read Rocket Fuel?
No,
if you're a high D personality, I would read Rocket Fuel, and that would identify that there's more than likely there's nothing wrong with you. You are just you've got rocket fuel on your brain, and so my brain goes 1,000,000 miles an hour. And like I said, that's just kind of like the past couple weeks or so. Once we get a little slowdown, it's I'm not on appointments all the time, and we're not doing the podcasts all the time. It's like I'm sitting around the office and I'm conjuring up other ways to make money. How can I take the profit that we have this year and parlay that into something bigger, right? Mm-hmm. However, that's not where all the agents' minds are. All the agents' minds are like, I'm in an ebb right now, right? Things aren't flowing as well as they were back in October when I closed everything out. I didn't do a ton of lead gen in November, so therefore I'm paying for it right now because, it's just kind of like I didn't want to. Who knows the reason why some of the agents we have around here didn't do that? Marshall's like, look, he's looking at me.
It's Christmas, man.
He's like, why you got to bring up old stuff? That was Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that was like a week ago, man. Anyway, let's move on. So get rid of the baggage.
Get rid of it.
Yeah, that's a smart one right there. In 2020, you got to get rid of the baggage. Get rid of the baggage today. There was a book that I had read a long time ago called "See You on the Blacktop," and it was a car salesman's perspective of sales. Right. And it was the number one car salesman in the U.S. that wrote this book at the time. And I don't know how I got the book, but I think it was that, I was in sales and someone had mentioned, to the group really that there was a few people coming in with too much baggage. And I don't think I was one of them. However, I just read the book to read it. And there was some good visualization tactics in there. And it was basically like, imagine a briefcase or a bag, right? That you have all your garbage in. So all the fights with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, the bill collectors, anybody that's after you for money, any kind of stressful situation that you have, you didn't want to let interfere with you at work, right? And so you would take this, visualize taking that BS and putting it in a bag or putting it in your briefcase and talking to it, and you could do like a few different things. So some people he recommended would walk over to their trunk and put this, imagine no one really knows what you're doing. You're not out there like a mime.
Yeah.
But, it's like you open your trunk and you put your bag and you say, I'll be back for you at 5:00.
Yep.
Or you walk into your office and you physically bend down and you mentally put that bag down and say the same thing. I'll be back for you at 5:00. And when you leave at 5:00, reach out the door and turn around and pick that bag up and take it with you, And I mean, the mind's your subconscious is a powerful thing, right? And so if you don't think your subconscious is powerful, read up a little bit about it,
They've done a ton of experiments.
Yeah, and
the
if you
prison
can-
one, the basketball one about visualization and practice and the combination.
We both say visualization the same way.
Visualization.
We can barely get it out.
Visualize something.
Yeah, you visualize it. And so, I started doing that. And man,
It works.
my
Works really well.
sales at the computer company I was with spiked. And it was more. I was new to the job, and it was progressing anyway. But it really picked up, and that remained a habit of mine for some time. I can't even remember why I forgot to do it. But over the years, when I've had stressful situations, when I first became a realtor and I couldn't pay my bills and I was failing, and I only made a little over $4,000 the first year, I started to do it again. I started to do it again because I had so much debt that I was incurring. I was taking on so much debt with, getting my license and still paying the mortgage and paying my car payments. I had multiple cars. I had multiple motorcycles. I had a boat. I had a house. Like I had all this garbage that I had that was a carryover from when I was in the bar business, and now I didn't have that anymore. And I didn't have that stream of money coming in anymore, that cash flow that I used to have coming in. I didn't have the salary I used to, And I was living off my savings. And so the first year that I made $4,000, of course I still had other money.
Yeah.
However, I only made $4,000. And so when you have nothing but everything going out and nothing coming in, money goes rather quickly, especially when you live in Austin, Texas. So I had to start doing that stuff. I had to start actually visualization of leaving my problems at the door so I could go in and not let it affect me in lead generation. So I would highly recommend that. This next one I love, we talk about this all the time. It's get over it. If you lose a deal, get over it. If you hear someone, if they steal a deal from you, if they stop by an open house and they decide to buy an open house, obviously buy an open house, but they buy the house, they stop by a builder, they buy a new build, and you don't get the client, you have to get over it. If you think you took them out and so you didn't get a buyer's rep sign and you didn't lock them down as a client, then they're two-timing you with another agent or two other agents and they chose another one that showed more value, get over it. That agent's not a snake. That agent more than likely didn't know you existed.
Yep.
Get over it. And so there's so many things we have to get over. We have the 5-minute funeral around here.
Yep.
Where we sit here when we cry about what just happened. We had a listing, tap out the other day, because of the holidays, and it's like, oh man, we got some money invested in you,
Yeah.
And so, hey, look, but I did tell her, anytime you wanted to pull off, that's part of my value. That the minute you want to pull off and you don't think you're going to go through with this whole thing, or you want to stomach it anymore, you're at a point that you can't sell because the profit's not there. Let's pull off the market. You know, so I mean, that's part of the thing is that I have a guarantee that I can sell your house. If not, just, here you go. Here's your listing back. And that's what we did. And that stung, but I'm over it.
Yeah.
I got over that one quickly, actually.
Deals fall out sometimes.
They do.
That's why you're not supposed to spend that money before you get your check.
Yeah. So get over it. Don't spend a lot of time dwelling on things that you can't control. Right. And so the last one here is get mentored. Get a mentor. Find somebody that's doing it. Bigger than you. Find somebody that's successful. Find someone that's.
This goes back to my first year and not knowing what to do. I mean, you read all the books. They say you take all the information in like a fire hose, and you have all the tools in front of you, but you don't know how to get in action. And then watching you driving up to the house, knocking on the door, standing back a few feet, a little sideways, and the way you enter the house, the way you approach them. I mean, just seeing all the steps of action and being able to shadow that and apply it makes a world of difference. Find a mentor.
Yeah, I agree. And I had someone that showed me all those moves. Those moves. I got the moves.
I got the moves now.
So, yeah, you got the moves now. That's why we're a team.
James, touch me. What's the moves?
So it's just that. Find a mentor. And if you don't have somebody successful in your brokerage, you can always reach out. With the internet these days, you can do Zoom calls, you can phone calls, you can FaceTime, you can chat through Facebook Messenger. There's so many ways that you can get in front of other people. Find a scripts partner. Find multiple scripts partners because you'll get comfortable with the ones that you do have. So you want to shake it up a little bit. Be purposeful about your script calls. 15 minutes in and out. Don't sit there and chat a lot. There's no value in you guys just catching up with each other. Yep. You're there for a reason. You can do it once a week, maybe after a weekend. Hey, how you doing? Good. Oh, that's great. Great. All right, let's move on with it. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Realtor.
Realtor? What the hell is that over there in the corner of the floor?
What? Hey,
the statue.
Why are you bringing that up now?
Because I'm looking at it. It's just staring.
He's not even looking at you.
I know, but I see it.
It's for it to hold his earphones. All right, now you're gonna have to post a picture of that thing.
It broke. I need to get a new one. I got to call the guy.
Yeah,
or message him.
So all right, so let's go. Those are our 10 little tips for the struggling agent out there. If you're really struggling, give me a call. 512-920-3283. So that's 920-DAVE is what that spells. I know that I gave my cell phone in the past. Both these ring to my cell phone. That one's just easier to remember if you're in a pinch and you need to talk to me. It's 512-920-DAVE. All right. And then what do we got here?
And remember, I have a lot of referrals that I'm trying to place. So please, if you're not yet a part of Marshall Tucker's referral network, reach out to me and join the network. I would love to place you with one of our referrals.
Yeah, so just friend him up on Facebook. Friend any of us up on Facebook. We've got Instagram accounts. Let me see here. We also changed the name of Top Shelf Agents is now Hyper Local Agents. And what that means is we're going to teach you how to be hyper local. We like to consider ourselves that we're hyper local. We're always out in our market. We've got Wilco Eats and we've got a couple other entities out there that are always keeping up with our communities and showing ourselves out there. There's 16,000 realtors in our town and we can't always talk about the same thing all 16 other thousand realtors are talking about. So we've decided to go a different route and stand out. And how we've done that is through hyper local domination, really. And so what we want to do is show you a little bit more. So join that group. Look for that group. It's Hyper Local Agents on Facebook. My name is Dave Snover. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here for today. We appreciate it as always. And if you need us for anything else, you can always text JOIN-EXP to 88000. And don't forget, Mike Harrell over at Guaranteed Rate. Magic Mike at 88000.